There's only really one thing or two that is certain in this life. One thing that is going to happen regardless of what you do, what plans you make, and what you put your effort into, and that's death. Whether we like it or not, one day we're going to die, and our time on this earth, our time in the position that we're in, can stop at any moment. And so I think it's important, vastly important, probably one of the most important things of all, to bear that in mind, the finite nature of our own existence. Because if there's only one thing that we can control, and that's what happens in between. So we're born and we die. What happens in between, that's up to you. And so you have to ask yourself, I have to ask myself, what is it that you want the in-between to be? What value do you want it to have? Because if you want it to have a value beyond your own existence, beyond after you've gone, then you need to raise the stakes a little. You need to reach for greatness. And especially this is the case if you're able to watch this video, that says something about you in this world that we live in. When half of the world's population lives on less than $1 or $2 a day, and you're not in that half, then you're part of a very privileged few. And if you bear in mind that the clock is always ticking, the clock is always ticking, and so whatever we have, whatever time we have, we don't know how much time there is. We're constantly working against the clock. You could have a month, you could have 6 months, you could have 6 years. But if you knew how much time you had left, what would you do with it? Think about that for a second, because as we don't know, we assume that tomorrow is granted, that tomorrow is going to come. And therefore we delay so many things that we want to do. We make so many decisions based on the fact that we assume we're going to be here tomorrow, in 6 months, in 2 years, in 3 years. But that's not guaranteed. And if it's not guaranteed, what are the most important things that you want to achieve? What is the legacy that you want to leave behind? When people come to your funeral, when people remember you long after you're gone, what is it that you want them to remember you for? What is it that you want to leave behind for them? And that doesn't have to be after death, it can be right now. What is it that you want people to say about you, to feel about you, to think of you as, after you've finished speaking to them, after you've finished meeting them for the first time, for the third time, for the 50th time? What is it that you want to leave behind? Because especially if you're in this privileged few, if you can read, if you can write, if you have a roof over your head, food, money, and a bed, you're part of the world's richest elite, the top 8%. So if you're part of that 8%, what do you want to do with that? Because you have got everything at your disposal. You can do anything you want. You're in a position that nobody has ever been in before. I can get on a train and get to the other side of the country in a few hours. 50, 100, 150 years ago, that wasn't the case. And now we have things like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I can connect with you even though I'm here in my own town, and connect all over the world with people. So what is it that I want to do with the tools that I have at my disposal? Because when I think about how far my family had to come to get me here, to be standing in front of this camera and have all of these opportunities in front of me, the question that I ask myself is, what am I now going to do with that? That tool that has been placed in my hands after much blood, sweat and tears. People are willing to invest in you. This is the best time to be a young person, in my opinion, because I've been able to go to other countries. I went to Botswana, I've been to Bangladesh, I've been to Australia and volunteered all over the world. And people paid for the tickets for me to go there. They paid for my travel, they paid for my food, they paid for my accommodation. Also that I can develop myself and develop my skills. And I'm the one that's gonna benefit from that. I'm the one that's gonna earn money from that. So after all of these things have been put into you as a container, what is the output that you want to create? What is the legacy that you want to leave behind? Because there's a host of issues that are out there. There's a host of problems, but equally there's a host of solutions within you. There's a host of answers within you to those problems, and we're more well equipped than ever before. The possibilities are even more exciting. So take your pick and decide, what is your legacy going to look like?